Hey everybody, how's it going? Coach Doug for another episode of COVID Chats with Coach Doug. Tonight, I have an amazing guest with me. Yes, Michelle, you're first. You beat Laura. My guest tonight is Canadian PGA Tour rookie Michael Gligic. I have known Michael for a long time, and it's really cool because he's from my hometown, Burlington, here where I live right now, and it's really awesome to see a good man finally make it. So I'm really excited. He's a wonderful ball of energy. He's a really super young man, and I'm really excited that he's coming to join us tonight from Florida, where he's been training as his PGA Tour rookie season has been put on hold. So we're going to get in a little bit of that. Going to talk a little bit about him in general. I'm really looking forward to it because he is affected a couple of people, whether or not he realizes it, and how they've approached their junior golf. So I'm really thinking this is a cool opportunity. So if you have any questions tonight, make sure you ask down here in the question marks, okay? Send me a question. I'll try and get to it with Michael, and we'll see what we can do and answer some of these questions. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm really excited about it. Michelle, Brad did not beat you, and whether or not he says worst is first, now the first is worst, now you know what, sorry. It just shows that you're on the ball. I don't know about that. I don't know. Oh, love the shirt, eh? Yeah, thanks, Andrew. Yeah, Vanderbilt. That place was pretty awesome to go down and check out. I played Vanderbilt Legends last year ago, November. It was unbelievable. My good friend Matt Walter teaches out of that place. Phenomenal facility. It's really kind of cool. So I'm hoping Mike gets on pretty soon. Ah, there he is right there. Awesome. And I'm looking forward to it. So anybody's, like I said, make sure you have your requests. And with here comes PGA Tour rookie and Burlington's own Michael Gligic, all the way from Florida. There he is, Big Mike.
Hey, how are you, man?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Good, good.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. It's been a while, actually.
It has. It has. I mean, it's been great to follow the journey of you, brother, because it's like I remember standing on the patio at Credit Valley after the outbalding, and you smoked everybody, and it was like, yeah, there's something about this guy. He's pretty awesome. So you know what? I think the whole golf community is just so excited for you, and so super pumped that another Canadian has made it on the PGA Tour, and really, it's just such a testament. And your story is a lot different than others, and
Yeah,
I want to get into that a little bit with you because it's got definitely some trials and tribulations to it. And if there's anybody who kind of sticks to what my hashtag is, a better never stops, it's you, because you always keep going and you're kind of like the
yeah.
energetic. So it's really kind of cool. I got some fun questions for you as well. All right.
Sounds good.
It's gonna be really good. Oh, Brad Lawrence says Emerson Mahoney still brags that he beat you at the Burlington Pro Am. Sorry, the Burlington. Sorry, at the Brampton Golf Club Pro Am. He says that Emerson still feels he's so accomplished because he beat you straight up.
Jeez. What
You guys,
year was that?
absolutely. So
What
now,
year
right
was that?
now,
What's that, sorry?
so you live in Florida?
Um, I'm like Jupiter,
Okay,
South Florida, yeah. So,
right on. And Natasha's your wife, right?
yep,
Yep. And
yeah.
how are you guys managing with this craziness?
It's I mean, it's different. I mean, we're doing our best, but um, yeah, it's just a learning experience like for everyone else. But yeah, we're kind of taking it one step at a time, and we're doing all right though.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that. So, bro, Burlington boy, done everybody in the Burley proud. All right. Corn Ferry Tour graduate, PGA Tour rookie, a Great Lakes like stalwart. Like you are like the Great Lakes Tour guy, Mackenzie Tour guy, and I mean, it all really started, with you and your junior golf. Um, who was the light switch for you when you were a junior that you might be a little bit better than everybody else? Like who helped you and who kind of turned that switch on for you?
Like who part of my team?
Yeah, well, no, like when you were a junior playing, right? Playing your junior golf.
Yeah.
Who were you like? Who was helping you? to be a good junior? Like, and before you got to core, like before you went down there, who was it that kind of lit the fuse for you and thought, hey, you know what, you could be pretty good?
Um, I mean, I started with Sean Foley at such a young age. I think he was the one I kind of give a lot of my credit to. He took me under his wing probably when I was like 13 or something like that. That was right when I was starting to take golf serious. And I remember walking into Glen Abbey with my mom, and I didn't really know much about golf coaches or anything like that. My mom certainly didn't. And yeah, there we were walking into Glen Abbey, just asking for a golf coach. And there was Sean, like he must have been, I don't know, 24, 25, like right out of college. And he was like, yeah, I'll help you. And, sure enough, he becomes a Sean Foley we all know and love. And
Right? Well, it's funny. I knew that story, so that's where I was kind of trying to get it at.
yeah,
Really funny, small world here for me is, I live in Burlington, but even better, around the corner in my townhouse complex is Jerry, Sean's dad.
oh yeah,
He was my condo president in my townhouse in my
no
town
way.
complex, which is kind of funny. And then a person posted on this Facebook group a picture of Sean winning the 1989 Junior Club Championship at Millcroft,
Yeah,
where I live, and it was really funny. He's got the visor, big hair. It's kind of
uh-huh.
it was really good picture. But anyways, that's where I wanted to find out that start. So one of the really things, like when that final putt went in, or when you really knew that you were gonna be on the PGA Tour, like the like what were the emotions? What were the feelings? What was the like? Could you even think when you realized it?
It was actually it was a really weird day. Obviously I won early in the year on the Corn Ferry Tour, and it's kind of set me up and propelled me for the rest of the year. But the
Absolutely.
tournament that clinched it was in Colorado at TPC Colorado. It was, maybe three-quarters of the way through the season, and that was the event that I officially clinched enough points to get my card. And I remember it was a weird Sunday because I was right in contention and I kind of let it slip on the back nine, and I was pretty disappointed.
Hmm.
But then, after the round, we kind of looked back and we're like, you know what, we, accomplished what we set out to do this year. Can't just look at this one round and be disappointed. So it took me about 5 minutes to get over it, and then I realized, I'm going to the PGA Tour, and we had a couple beers.
A couple beers, yes, a couple beers, and we'll get into beer in a little bit as well. So a little birdie told me you like beer, so I mean I've got a couple questions, but so it's really an interesting point that you just brought up. You're in contention, you kind of drop it, and on one hand you're kind of disappointed because you didn't seal the deal, right? And in that tournament, but I mean realistically speaking, oh my gosh, the dream has finally been achieved, right?
Hmm.
And I mean, you're 30 now. Is that what?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
30.
It's been 10 years it's been really a 10-year struggle for you.
Yeah.
Say struggle, but it's been a lot of up and downs, right? One of the things that I found very interesting is that you never stopped.
Hmm.
Keep pursuing your dreams, right?
Yeah.
And it was always, and the one thing that you have that I mean, everybody to a fault who know you will say you're an absolute sweetheart, you're a wonderful person, deep down you've got a heart of gold, right? And you're just a really wonderful human being. And I'm not blowing smoke when I say that, because I do my homework, and it's one of these things, Mike. It's great to see a good person achieve their dreams. One of the things, though, did you ever feel that maybe you might not get there? Did you ever think you were going to quit?
There was a lot of times. I think I'd be lying if I said there wasn't. Those that are close to me and know me know that I had, some other plans up my sleeves and started to, think about other options. And it wasn't that I didn't have confidence in my golf game. I knew I was good enough, but the opportunity is just, it's so tough. And, you look at the competition nowadays, Mackenzie Tour, there's six or
Oh,
seven Q schools where they're taking 10 spots. And, if I had to go back to Mackenzie Tour Q school right now, like, I wouldn't be betting a whole lot of money that I'm going to get through kind of thing. It's, the guys are so good and the competition's so crazy that, um, yeah, I mean, 2011 was a kind of a turning point year. I remember the first couple years of my pro career. no sponsors, no money, funding it all myself pretty much. Living, Great Lakes tour paycheck to Great Lakes tour paycheck, trying to, make ends meet and have enough money for Q school at the end of the year and try and hit a home run at Q school kind of thing. And 2011, I kind of shut it down and went and did my backup plan has always been real estate just because I got some family in real estate and whatnot. And that was part of my decision to not go to college, which was a unique way to go. But
Right.
my thinking was if I didn't pursue golf, I had real estate as my fallback, and you don't have to go to college, you know.
No, I mean, you know what? And I mean, it's funny. My friend says education happens in a bunch of different forms. It's not always university,
Hmm.
always college. Education happens in so many different ways, right? So you saw that your
Yeah.
education could take you to, real estate, and that is something that you always had in the back of your mind that you could always fall back on and do that. And one of the things I think that do you think because you turned pro so early, right? You turned pro
Hmm.
fairly young. What do you think having that as a fallback was actually something that helped you because you knew you could always go to that if you needed to, but it also fueled your desire to really keep pursuing it?
I think so, yeah. I mean, going back to my little story there in 2011, I went and did my real estate courses that winter, and in my head, I didn't really tell a whole lot of people, maybe my close circle, but I had kind of shut golf down and went and did my, back then there was three real estate courses. I passed the first one, passed the second one. That brought me to like March, and didn't touch a club all winter. April rolled around. I think the courses started to open. I just kind of went out as like a recreational golfer. I had the mindset I wasn't playing anymore. And I think my next course was scheduled for May. So I was just going to, whatever, play once, twice a week. And when my course came in May, I'd go do that and then hopefully pass, get my real estate license, and off I go. But yeah, that spring I went out randomly and like, I think of, you know, first round in April and shoot like 64 or something with my buddies, and then next round like 63 with my buddies or something, and everyone's kind of like, "Oh, you still got it, like you got to go one more year." And I still had status actually on the Mackenzie tour, and that was I
What it
kind of
was
had a lot of,
story. That's a really
yeah,
cool story because you had
I had a
such.
lot of buddies and members at Hidden Lake and whatnot that were kind of pushing me to go try it one more year and one more year. But I strung together a couple bucks to go play the first few events, and my first event back after not touching a club all winter, I won in Edmonton. So, that was a 30 something thousand dollar payday that kind of kept the dream alive.
Little springboard for you there, big fella. And,
Yeah.
and you've always been a tall drink of water, and always been able to smash that golf ball a pretty good distance. Now, one of the things is, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you were in the maiden class of the core academy down at Orange County National.
Yep.
You were in the maiden class. In that class, Ryan Corbin.
Yep.
Okay. Ryan Corbin now working with Sean, but also here's the really cool part. Ryan Corbin is one of your very good friends. He's
Yeah.
also your swing coach, right? Yeah, right?
Yeah. I've been,
Oh,
yeah, sorry,
yeah.
you're just cutting out a little bit there, but
What I said is Ryan is also your swing coach, right?
yeah. Yeah,
What's
I've
it?
been working with him in
Sorry.
sorry, you're kind of cutting out there. Let me just open this door here so I'm closer to the Wi-Fi box.
No problem.
Yeah,
So no,
yeah,
what
Sean and Corbin have both been helping me for quite some time now, and
that's what I wanted to say. What is it like? Because Ryan was a great player in his own right, and I mean
mhm.
he could fill up the cup, right? What is his what is it like having one of your buddies as your kind of swing advisor?
I mean, I think when we talk swing, it's just business. It could be anyone. We're gonna have the same conversations, but um, it's we kind of have like the two different relationships. We got the business and the friendship. So, um, I've kind of had the same team for years and years, and Corbin probably knows my game better than almost anyone in the world. I've probably played more rounds of golf probably with him growing up than anyone, and he's always been. I mean, those who know his golf swing know it's probably one of the best looking golf swings in the world, and he's very educated in the golf swing. He's grown up under Sean and learned a lot from him, and yeah, it's nice that I was really taking advantage of Ryan the last couple of years when he got back into or when he started his coaching career, I guess, and Sean being on the road with Justin Rose and some of the best players in the world on the PGA Tour. When I was playing on the Mackenzie Tour and the Corn Ferry Tour, it made it a little tough to see Sean living in Orlando and myself in Canada. It was a little tough to see him all the time. So it was nice to have Corbin, and we were all kind of on the same page, one big happy team, and we all kind of worked together. And Sean and Corbin would communicate, and yeah, we'd all be on the same page, which was nice.
That's awesome. I really like Ryan. He's it's having a conversation with him is a lot of fun, mainly because he's as chill as they come, dude. Like the guy, like Ryan, is your heart beating? Like, hello?
Yeah.
Right? It's like, dude, like, right? But he's just a super guy, and
Yeah.
and it's awesome because like when I would get people coming to me and saying, hey, can you teach my kid, or I need lessons, da da da, I'm like, I don't have time. You need to go see this guy because to help Ryan with his business here at Glen Abbey and stuff. You wanted to help grow it, so I was so happy to hear that he was able to go down to Sean's academy and work there. And it must be a little bit more. It's kind of cool because now he's even he's closer to you again, and you're living in Florida. So
yeah,
that's just a great story. So you talked about your team, and this is a really interesting question. So your team you've had for a while. All right, from your caddy, your short game coach, your swing coaches, and most of all, solid partner in that wife of yours, right?
Yeah.
She's like the most important piece of that. How important do you feel it is for you as a PGA Tour member to have such a solid team that you can depend on, who know what Mike's about, and allow him to do his job?
Yeah, I was actually talking to one of the guys on my golf course the other day about that. We were talking about coaches and whatnot, and he didn't realize I've had the same, core around me for over a decade, each and every one of them. So, yeah, it starts, Sean Foley, probably since I was 13, so 17 years. Gareth Raflewski with short game for over a decade. Paul Doolin, mental for over a decade. Corbin, I've been around Corbin for years and years and years. I got my trainer, Doug, in Burlington. So we got, the same core guys for over 10 years. So it's pretty cool. We've all kind of grown together.
But like I said, like what's really interesting is that if a lot of people don't have that stability,
yeah,
how do you find that stability plays into your ability to play better golf?
I mean, it's just nice to have, I feel like it's just like a consistent, there's no like guessing anymore. I know exactly what I'm going to get. I think, getting a new coach and bouncing around with coaches can sometimes, it's a good thing, but if you do it too much, I think it can kind of be overwhelming. I've never really had more than one coach, so I don't even know what that's really like. But the guy I was talking to on my golf course, he just switched coaches, and he was giving me his 2 cents. But I don't even really know what that's like. I've had the same group for so long, but
right.
It's just nice. We all communicate. We all know everything. We don't know everything. I don't mean it like that, but we all know what's going around in our little circle, and yeah, we know what we're all working on. And
that's the main thing, though. That's important, right? I mean,
yeah.
When you have your team and it's been around for so long, there are no outside distractions.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to a gentleman this week, and one of his big words was self-awareness. And if a golfer has self-awareness, right, they are so much more in tune with what they know and how they can focus, rather than having the distractions of worrying about what is everybody going to think, what are my players, what are these players doing, it's like, no, it's you and your caddy in the middle of the fairway working with the team. He knows you. He knows what to say. And I mean, that is such a huge component to get to the successful PGA Tour career, right? Because
Absolutely, yeah.
if you've got holes in your team and you're missing things, you leak oil.
Yeah, no, definitely. I
So
think, yeah, I guess the newest member of my team would be my caddy, actually, Dave Markle. Do you know him at all?
Dave Marco, I know who's yeah, no, I know, yeah, Marco,
Yeah,
absolutely. He's
he's a hell of a player.
yeah, he was big in the amateur ranks, I believe, wasn't he, or
Yeah,
pro as well?
yeah, he played professionally, kind of dominated the Great Lakes Tour for a while, and
That's his name.
he, he had status in Europe on the Challenge Tour for a bit and played Mackenzie Tour for a bit, and traveled to I don't know how many countries, but he's been all over playing, and yeah, he's I guess the newest member of the team, but yeah, he's been a big part of the success.
Oh, that's great. That's so very cool. So really cool little tidbit of stuff that little insight here. Autism. My son, my son has Asperger's, very high performing Asperger's, but it's been he's 17 and it's been, you know, getting to understand how his brain and how he works. And I mean, he's high functioning, don't get me wrong. And he's a
Hmm.
wonderful young man and all that stuff, but you have a deep connection with autism. And
Yep.
I love the fact that it's one of the charities that you always play for and work for. And it's right. How has that affected you in your life, and how do you roll with it?
You kind of cut out there mid question for
Oh,
a little bit, but I kind of got the gist of it. But
how do you roll with the fact that autism has played a pretty big substantial role in your life, and
yeah,
how
that
that
I
helped
think
shape you for the person you are?
yeah, I think growing up, is a lot different than probably most households. But since turning pro, I've kind of always looked up to Ernie Els and what he does on the charitable aspect. He does his Els for Autism event every year, something that I'm hoping to be a part of pretty soon. And yeah, now that I got onto the PGA Tour, I'm hoping that I can use my platform to maybe raise some more awareness and, hopefully one day have my own event or my own charity to kind of play for. Because, yeah, that'd be pretty special, especially because of how close it is to me. So,
Right. Well, the really interesting part here is that imagine if you could come back to Peekaboo Pond and throw a charity golf tournament on and have it sell out all the
yeah.
names of autism for Ontario, the Autism Society in Burlington, or who, the channels that have helped you and your family, you know,
Hmm.
with this. And I think it's really cool. Oh, your mental coach just logged in. Hello, Paul. There he
Oh,
is.
there he is.
Exactly. What's up, coach? Anyways, I really appreciate that because I think in this day and age, I find that autism is something that is touch a lot of people,
Hmm.
more so than everybody wants to, and those people that don't feel, and to see that funding gets cut, and programs, who people don't think that these programs make a difference. Um,
Hmm.
I really think that this is where someone who has now a platform. I really applaud you for being able to think, hey, what can I do to help? Because
Hmm.
like that's huge, man. Not many people do
Yeah.
that, and I really think the tip of the cap to you because it's just another showcase of just how good character you have. And that you truly are one of the good guys out there, right? It's not me first. You're thinking about all these other things. So this leads me into a really cool story because you think of others a lot, all right? And
Yeah.
there's a young man on this who logged on really quick just before you. And when I was coaching him, you had the the kindness to go play with him. He's now in grade 11. He's strapping young man, trained by the same trainer that you've been trained by, Dougie,
Yeah.
and he's trending his way to follow in some footsteps and wants to wholeheartedly. One of the things I really appreciate about you is that you will always take the time to go play with young juniors, to speak to young juniors, and you're never too busy really to give them a little bit of time.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think why is that for you? What does that do for you, helping juniors, playing with juniors, and doing that on a monthly basis, or whatever it is, whenever it can occur to you?
I don't know. I think it just kind of goes back to my roots. I remember, training at Glen Abbey at the elite program, and just having guys stop by. I don't know. I can't, like, off the top of my head think of some of the guys that I want to think of, but like I remember, always looking up to JC Deacon and Andrew Parr. They were guys that were on the national team at the time. Maybe young, they might have just turned pro. I was on an Ontario team, and Andrew Parr was one of the coaches, and I remember picking his brain. And he dedicated some time to come down to South Carolina and help out Team Ontario when we played. And um, now that I have a bit of a platform, I just want to be able to do that as well. And if people are interested to hear what I have to say, I am more than happy to help the kids out. And
That's great. So coaches listening up, hey, this guy's one of the best. Get him to come talk to your juniors when we are allowed to get back into camps, or your teams, and talk about the journey. And it's we'll get into that a little bit more. But here's my favorite part of my my live chats is my fast five. So
all right,
five random questions. You don't know what's coming up, and
all right,
answer them as best as you possibly can. Okay.
Okay.
Right. You kind of touched on it, but I'm hoping you say something else. If you weren't playing professional golf, what would you be doing?
Probably real estate. Is that what you were hoping I would say, or no?
You're a little entrepreneurial, but I was thinking maybe, you'd be like real estate mogul. Yeah, I'd like to say that, right? Like $1 million listing, something. You'd be one of those next stars on that.
Yeah.
Something.
If golf didn't work out now, I'd probably help my wife out with her business. So
what does your wife do?
She owns a pet accessory business. It's called Walking the Bark. I'll have to send you the link.
Do send me. I have a dog.
Walking the Bark. So she makes pet accessories, leashes, collars, bandanas, harnesses, you name it.
My dog.
Oh, look at this! I'll even give you a sneak peek right now. Look at this right here. This is the makeshift office here in Florida. So these are all orders that are going out right now, and so yeah, here you go. Here's this one here is a seatbelt, a collar, and a leash.
This is awesome. I love it.
There you go.
There you go. First-hand knowledge, eh? That's great.
Yeah, that's it.
Send me that link, man. I'll grab a collar for my dog. I'll get Georgie to support it. He's got his own Instagram page, for crying out loud. My dog does. So there you
go. Our dog does too. Maybe they can follow each other or something.
Well, for sure. All right. So here's an interesting beer. I've been told you kind of like your beer.
I like my beer, yeah.
That's okay. That's great. I think Canadian beer is the best beer.
Absolutely.
So I need your opinion. Canadian craft brew, Molson Canadian, Labatt's, Blue, Stella, or what?
Ooh, Alexander Keith's, maybe?
You grab a Keith's, the standard. Nice. Indian Pale Ale. Nice. Yeah. Nice. Little Indian Pale Ale. That's great.
Doug's been on me, though. We've been training hard during the quarantine, so I've kind of shut the beers down for a while here. So
I'll pick the beer up and drink that. All right. Who's your hero, man?
Man, I would probably say Tiger Woods. I've just always been a Tiger guy growing up. What he's done off the golf course is. What's that?
I said you're pretty close to him. He's down in
Yeah, we actually I went on Corey Connor's boat the other day, and he showed me where Tiger's house is. So that's pretty cool. I wanted to start yelling or something, but I didn't want to be that guy.
I'd like to go play his course, his little practice thing he built. Man, that place.
Oh yeah.
I looked at that. That thing is unreal. How do you not get in there? Right?
Yeah, tell me about it. Jeez.
Like, yeah, okay. Dare to dream, right, bro? That's it. All right. Jeopardy, Wheel of Fortune, American Ninja Warrior, or Holy Moly. What game show would you most likely like to go on?
Oof. I would like to go on American Ninja Warrior. I mean, I'd have a lot more training to do, but Yeah, I don't know. I'm not smart enough to do Jeopardy or Wheel of Fortune, so
I'd hate to tell you about American Ninja Warrior. Us tall guys, not a good fit for American
n
Ninja Warrior.
no.
No, I remember I'm working out at Movati down the street in Burlington, and they've got the whole like rack set up downstairs in the area, right? And there's this dude in there, and he's doing all this American Ninja Warrior stuff. You know, he's like going up like this, he's swinging, he's like doing one arm stuff, he's jumping all over the place. He came up to my shoulder. I'm like, yeah, you know what, Chuck, you short guy who can lift yourself. Like, I mean, like, you know, you got long levers like you and me. I was like, yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. We're just way too big, but I agree. They're pretty. That's a pretty cool show. Me personally, holy moly, I'd like to go on Steph Curry's mini golf show. That would be
I
like
haven't even I didn't even know what that was. I was gonna ask. I didn't even
Google, Google, holy
yeah.
moly.
Has
You'll
he
it's fun.
has there been some episodes already? Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Huh.
yeah, it's pretty cool. All right, so this is going to be a little tricky. You might have to give this a little bit more thought. What music genre would best describe Mike Gligic's golf career? Would it be electric funk, West Coast rap, Canadian indie rock? Would it be house music? Would it be jazz? Would it be just plain top 40? What would be the genre that would best describe Mike's golf career?
What was the first one you said? Some like punk rock or
No,
something?
I said electric funk, but you could add punk rock.
Oh yeah, probably something like that. Just because there's so up and down, and definitely not house. That sounds way too calm and collected to be my golf career. So
Oh my gosh, that's too funny. You're in the mosh pit, bouncing up and down.
absolutely, that's me.
There you go. Oh, that's awesome. Fantastic, Mikey. That's great. So I recently had Ian Fraser on from TXG. And it was great. It was a great conversation because, you know, like Tour Experience Golf is by far, you know, they're ranked number 2 in North America for club fitting. And, you know, it's proof positive that club fitting is such an essential element to you guys playing great golf. You know, you're a pretty tall drink of water, dude. You're 6'4", you got long arms, long levers, and all that stuff. How long did it take you to realize that getting your clubs fit for you was super important?
I think I learned at a young age. I think it's just super important for everyone. I always get asked in pro-ams and whatnot, like, oh, do you think I should get a driver fit or whatnot? And I said, like, if you're going to take golf seriously, I would definitely suggest it. I mean, it's maybe, a couple $100 to get your whole bag done. And I think it's definitely worth it if you're going to be spending, thousands of bucks on all your clubs. I always describe it as walking into a shoe store and just grabbing a pair off the shelf without looking at the size. Like it might be a perfect match, it might be close and it might kind of work, or you might just be way off. Who knows? That's how I've always kind of described it. And
So what are
yeah,
your,
I think it's.
let's do a WITV. What's in the bag, Mike? What's in your bag?
I got 14 TaylorMade clubs. The Sim driver, Sim 3 wood. I got an older, not the newest. It's like the 790 last year's model. I got two driving irons that I alternate. One's a 2 iron, one's a 3 iron. Depending on the golf course, I'll put one in or the other. And then 4 through 9 iron is the 760s, and then pitching wedge, gap wedge, sand wedge, lob wedge, and then the TaylorMade Del Monte putter.
Cool. What are your specs? You know?
Um, I don't know, to be honest. I think I'm like a half-inch long, and I think I'm like 1 or 2 upright. I just recently kind of bumped them a little bit, so I don't know the exact specs. And that was like right at the start of this whole thing. So once we get back on tour, I'll probably take them into the truck and they'll see what they're all at. But I'm
Yeah.
usually like 1 or 2 upright.
So what do you think, like, what, I mean, you made a really good point here. What have been the biggest learning curves for you in these PGA Tour events? Is it not knowing the courses? Is it such a quick education that you have to really get to know the course really quick? Or what have been some of the adjustments you've had to make?
I think anytime that you move up or down a tour, I think it is a little difficult just because there's so many different aspects that you got to learn. It's not just the golf course. I think there's more to it than that. Like I felt so comfortable on the Mackenzie tour because I know I'm going to fly into Vancouver to start the year. I'm going to stay at this hotel. I've played the golf course a million times. I know everything about the course. Whereas, and I know exactly how my week's going to go. Where on the PGA Tour thus far, I'm not playing in the Wednesday Pro-Am, which means I have to do all my work Monday, Tuesday. Monday used to be a travel day, but now I have to try and cram travel in Sunday night or early Monday so I can get some work in Monday, and then pretty much leaving Tuesday as a mandatory 18 holes. I got to see it all and learn everything Tuesday. So it's been anytime you're changing tours, you're going up against guys that obviously have played these golf courses a million times. Going to play Torrey Pines for my first time, and Tiger Woods is in the field. How many times has he played Torrey Pines? You know what I mean? Those little advantages, Tiger Woods or whoever it is, they've played
For
in
sure.
San Diego so many times. They know where they're staying, where they're eating,
Mhm.
all that kind of stuff. So I think a lot of that, might go under the radar a little bit, but those are things that definitely help in like the comfort standpoint.
So,
And
so have you tried to align yourself or play any practice rounds with guys that have actually been out on tour that you might know, or like some of the other Canadians out there? Have you tried to get a little bit of education from some of the veterans to help you along?
yeah, I've been playing most of my Tuesday practice rounds with the Canadians. We usually get a game going. So, you know, Corey, Mac, Nick is
Nice.
usually the four. Sometimes, Hearn or Weir or Sloan or something. But yeah, all those guys have played all those courses so many times where I can kind of, pick their brains a little bit. But
That's important.
yeah.
Now, you have a fantastic short game coach. He's one of my favorite people. He's got a little funny accent, but he is a sought after person. And, you've been with him for so long, you've watched him rise, right? You've watched him grow. And
Yeah.
Garrett, by far, pardon me, pardon me, you watched Gareth, really rise. And the cool thing is he's kept, you've kept him as your short game coach. What
hmm
has been the biggest thing that he's done for you to allow you to become that much better in your short game?
I
Because
think
dude, I know you can take it low. You know how to fill up the cup. But what have been some of the really big things that he's helped you do?
I think just a lot of, well, with the putting, I think it's just been consistency. I think back in the day, I used to kind of be hot and cold with the putter. So yeah, I could maybe fill it up when, it's rolling good, but when I wasn't rolling it good, that's when it wasn't very good. I think putting's gotten a lot more consistent, and just kind of recently, I've started to gain a better understanding for all the different shots around the green. I don't know how much time you spent with Gareth, but he'll sit there and he's got a million different shots. And
90,
when we're out there, what's
90.
that?
He told me 94. He did his he figured out there's 94 different shots from around the green that he was like that he categorized, right? It was like I said, dude, I said that's just insane, right? And I mean, I took young Vanessa down to work with him for a couple hours and got to watch, and it was really great because just to watch him in his element and stuff, it's always such a great thing to do. The cool thing is I can pick up the phone, or I was actually texting with him just before we came on, uh, because he's accessible, and I mean that's a really cool part for me. I feel very fortunate that I have him, that I
hmm
can, right. But the really cool thing is how much he's just very um, he's very good, but how he really helps you understand it. He's a great coach
hmm
in that aspect,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. We spent a lot of time the last few times we've worked, probably going back to Houston. He came to Palm Beach, and then recently at the Honda Classic in South Florida. And the Honda specifically, it's so grainy, tight, Bermuda,
Mm.
and there's so many different shots you can hit, and it was pretty cool for him to just, I'd be like, okay, how do I hit this one? And he's just like, oh, you know, heel up, stand a little closer, ball position, middle to front, and hit down on it 6 degrees or
Did
whatever.
did he show you that one where you take like your lob wedge, you play it in the front of your stance when you're on Bermuda, and you get the toe a little down, and it comes out without any spin, and it kind of runs a bit more.
Yeah, yeah.
He
Kind
showed
of
me,
like higher and softer.
yeah, like he showed me that. So I'm like, dude, this like, how do you figure these things out, right? It's like It's such an amazing talent. And I mean, but this is the
Yeah.
thing. And I love the fact that you're letting us into a little bit what makes you tick. Now, um, I don't know this, so I'm going to ask you this question. I said, do you have an agent, a rep?
Yep.
And are they American or Canadian?
They're Canadian. They're based now in Miami, but they're yeah, Toronto based.
All right. And who's that?
Sportbox. So
Oh,
like Danny
with Danny
Fritz and
Fritz,
yeah,
right?
Danny Fritz and yeah, David Dubay and my
Cool.
agent is Josh.
That's great. All right. What do you find? I've always wanted to ask this question for a PGA Tour player having an agent. All right. What is the advantage for you having an agent when you've got to go play golf for your job?
They just kind of take care of all the stuff behind the scenes. Um, I'd say most players they book all their accommodations, all their travel. Um, for me, I don't know. I still have like the Great Lakes Tour mentality, so sometimes I try and nickel and dime it a little bit.
Sure.
They got my credit card information, but if I ask for their opinion, they might just be like, "Oh yeah, that Marriott that's 299. Yeah, you should stay there." And I'm just kind of like, "Oh no, I'll find my own." But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, for the
Hot
most part,
for $89 down the street, right, with free hot breakfast.
yeah, that's it. That's me. No, but no, they're great. Just I'll show up to events and I'll just pretty much get a text at the start of the week being like, hey, like, courtesy car will be picked up at the airport and any like special details about that week, pro-ams or whatnot.
That's cool.
Yeah, like there's a website, PGA Tour links, so we can sign in and that's where we see like where our number is and
Okay.
whatnot. So like the Honda Classic, for example, um, I was close of not, I was like on the bubble of getting into the event or not. So, my agent would keep me up to date anytime a guy withdrew or signed up. He'd kind of let me know so we knew where we stood if we were going to get into the event or not. I actually had to go to the Monday qualifier because I was one, just to like give you a little background on how it can change so much. As of Sunday night before the Honda, so like the next morning, is Monday of the Honda. I was, I think, 3 spots in for the Honda, thinking, okay, I'll probably be good. But what people don't really know is if you top 10 the previous week, that gets you a spot into the next week's event. The previous week was one of the secondary PGA Tour events. It was, where was it?
Was it on the West Coast?
No, it was one of like the smaller pursed ones.
Oh, I can't remember.
Uh, I
That's,
forget where it was, to be honest. Oh, Dominican? No, Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico. So we were in Puerto Rico. There was 4 guys at top 10 that have worse status than I do. So
oh,
they jumped me. So then all of a sudden I went from 3 spots in to instantly 1 spot out. So Monday morning I'm sitting there like, oh crap, now I'm 1 spot out. So we actually ended up going to the Monday qualifier for like a whatever 8:15 a.m. tee time, and I was on the sixth hole, and the rules official came over and pulled me off, said you're in. Somebody withdrew, so
ah, ah,
um,
that's it. All right, boys. Thanks. Nice to play. On.
yeah,
Right?
that's it.
That's like huge relief, eh? Like what? That's a great story. I mean, but
But yeah, that just
that's
that
it.
just kind of goes to show you where there's a lot more going on in your week than some people may think, because that then had an effect on my Monday. After that, there was a pro-am going on at I think 1 o'clock. So my caddy and we finished our sixth hole in the Monday qualifier at like whatever 10:30. We whipped right over to PGA National, jumped on the 10th tee, and just whipped around the back nine in like an hour and a half just so we could play a couple holes.
Yeah.
And then the next day, Tuesday, that's the official practice round day. We played 18. So
Wow.
yeah, it was a lot going on, and that's I've been close a couple times like that. So I've had to keep my eye on that list a couple times, but fortunately, most of the times I've fallen in. I think the only one where I kind of fell out was Las Vegas. I didn't get in there, so
So, one of the really cool things is you're behind the ropes and you
mm,
are in these PGA Tour events. And the really cool thing about this is, man, is like you're going to these places and you're part of the crew, you're part of the team, you're part of PGA Tour. Man, it's like I asked you this at the start. Do you ever sit there and pinch yourself and go, "Wow, this is really cool"?
I think honestly, I haven't really done that too much yet. I think a couple times maybe at Torrey Pines just because I was playing two groups behind Tiger, so I had some of like the drunk riffraff of his crowd kind of
Nice.
fall back to mine. But it was pretty cool, like walking up one on the south course at Torrey Pines and like coming back number two is just like a huge Tiger crowd, and I'm actually like inside the ropes this time. I can kind of I don't know, it's just a different experience. I think I've seen some Tiger crowds before, but being inside the ropes, seeing Tiger crowds is a little different. It's yeah, it's pretty cool.
Not many of us get to experience that. It's kind of a cool thing, man. You're living a lot of dreams that a lot of people would love to be doing. And
Hmm.
you came from the small town, the small city in Burlington, Ontario, right? And you grounded out. So a couple of other questions. Worst, okay? I wouldn't say worst, but I would say, yeah, okay. Worst food you've ever eaten at a tour event? PJ Tour,
PG.
Nancy Tour, wherever.
Ooh, geez, I don't know. I don't want to throw any of the tours or events under the bus, so I might bite my tongue on this one.
Like,
But I'd say
yes,
I'd say there was one or two events on the Corn Ferry last year. I'm not going to say which events, but the eggs are just like the powdered like hotel eggs that you I don't know, it's pretty much like egg soup where
pretty
a lot of guys were passing on it, and by like Wednesday I think everyone was just eating somewhere else before.
wow. Interesting. Got this comment here from Cameron Dunk. I remember caddying in the Jane Rogers event at Lakeview when Michael turned pro.
That
Uh,
was my first ever Canadian Tour event. Yeah,
there you
I
go.
was 18 and 18 Monday qualified, and yeah, I remember I was working with Connor O'Shea a little bit there too. He was teaching there at Glen Abbey under the elite program, and yeah, we both Monday qualified for that. I remember that one pretty well.
That's pretty cool. That's a pretty cool story. Lakeview's near and dear to my heart because I ran it for 5 years, right? So when they put the Jane Rogers there, it was like to see a 6,300 yard golf course, grow some teeth and some rough, and like watch you guys get around there and where in Montreal the week before the winning score was -25, where the winning score that week was like -14, and
Yeah,
it's really kind of cool. All right, couple other ones. Best course you've played, best challenge, best course you've played in your pro career.
I think probably Pebble Beach. I just played there, and I think that might have taken my new number one spot. It was pretty special. Obviously, I played it in PGA Tour conditions where it's immaculate, and you can't really draw up a better time to play Pebble for the first time. I don't think so. I was also playing it with Ray Romano and Larry the Cable Guy, so I think that made it even a little more special. But um, yeah, I'll never forget the 15th tee, 15, yeah, 15 at Pebble this year. Larry and my partner was Ray, and
Not
Ray was like early in the round. He's like, "You ready for the?" I forget what they call themselves. It's like the 19th hole or 15th tee, or there's like a name for this group of people, and they're just super loud and rowdy right on the 15th tee, and kind of like the 15th tee is right behind the 14th green, and the pin was at the back on 14, and I remember being pretty nervous over this like 3.5 foot downhill slider because if I would have missed it, I would have got booed pretty hard. I think there's a lot of people there, and I think we got to the tee, and there was like someone crowd surfing, and they ask the amateurs how they if they want noise while they're hitting or whatnot. So obviously Larry and Ray both say yeah, and they're just screaming and chanting while they're hitting. It was a pretty cool way to play Pebble.
Wow, man, that's pretty cool. Got a couple questions here from people. So, how are you? What are you doing now? Are you able to get out and practice on golf courses right now down there in Florida?
Yeah, actually, well, Palm Beach County's courses have been closed. They open tomorrow. My golf course is just outside Palm Beach County, is one of the ones that was left open. So, and it only private golf
Wow,
courses. So the course that I belong to, yeah, I have been going out. Still feel a little bit weird about it, so haven't been
sure.
going out. Haven't been going out too often, but just enough to kind of, maintain my game. And they do a pretty good job, taking some extra safety precautions and whatnot. So, um, just been going out and walking, carrying my bag, and there's no rakes or no one touches the pins, and the holes are upside down. So it's pretty safe out there.
That's good. What's one of your favorite memories from the Mackenzie Tour?
Oh, geez, I don't even know where to start. One of my favorite memories, probably Nova Scotia. There was like five of us that rented a house. There was a huge property, and I think four of us played in the. Four of us were in one wave, and Riley Wheeldon was in the other wave, and we got back. So it was Thursday morning. Four of us went out. We came back Thursday afternoon after our round, and Riley was bored all morning, so he went and he's in. He's always one that's fallen in love with like golf course architecture and stuff.
Yeah.
And we came back and we had this huge front lawn and backyard, and he built a 18-hole golf course on the property with like beer cans and pop cans and whatnot. So we got back, there was like this beautiful scorecard he made, the rules, the official course record. He played it once, I guess, before. And yeah, we ended up having like a bunch of the Mackenzie Tour staff out, and there was like three or four groups going out like Saturday night at our little pitch and putt. So
That's
I think,
pretty cool.
but
That's an
yeah,
awesome.
there was I don't know, there were so many good stories from the Mackenzie Tour. It's
For
hard to
sure.
just pinpoint one.
Somebody actually said, "Hey, reunion back in Nova Scotia. You, Hill, Danny Saul, and I. That's from Nolan.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he said, you guys can go visit the pubs again, but he said, keep up all the good work there, Gligs. So, some cool comments. Like we have probably one of the best golf courses in the world in the National. You've played it.
Yeah.
How does that rank to some of the courses that you've played on in your career?
I think the Nationals probably it's going to be in my top five, 100%, maybe squeak in the top three.
Wow.
I mean, you've played the National, right? I feel like you just go there a random day in the summer, and they could hold a PGA Tour event there the next day.
You're right.
That's how good it's kept. That's how challenging it is. They don't even need to grow the rough up there really for it to be too challenging. The greens are always perfect and fast and firm, and it's man, that course will eat your lunch.
It eats your like, dude. I've played it. I don't know, maybe 10 times, and I've never broken 77. Like,
Uh-huh.
come on, because I'm not like I don't profess to ever play like, but when I even was playing my best, man, the thing you just there's so many ways you can make mistakes, right? I remember
Yeah.
putting off the front of 16, right? Like before they
Oh
reach
yeah.
the green, right? Some people think it's an easy golf course, like the one and only Mr. Jerry D. But he thinks that golf is easy and on a hole. But you know what? Hey Jerry, I'll get Mike to come. You take him out to the Nash, and he'll give you five aside, and he'll just take every dime you have.
Yeah, there's been I think it's maybe the Spit and Chicklets podcast, and I think there was some guys talking about. I think it might have been Jeff O'Neill,
Oh yeah,
and he's I think like a 15 handicap, and somebody said he wouldn't break 200 from the tips playing tournament rules
yeah,
at the National. I think 200's a little excessive, but you
yeah.
know, if you put a guy's first time at the National, I don't know. What would your guess be? Like a 15 handicap from the
50
tips,
handicap,
though, too.
20. I think 120. You know,
Yeah,
I
I
think
would I would say over that. I think,
you know
but
what? It would the 120. The 120 would be, I think, because they might have 50 putts, but
Yeah,
like a 15 handicap might get into trouble. They'll just drop it and keep going, right? So
yeah.
I don't know. He goes, "Oh, Jerry says a 12 handicap wouldn't break 100 the very first time playing the National." Well, I mean, you might be right, Jerry. You might be right. We have yet to see that. But any advice you can pass on to some of the young juniors and some of the young people watching that to how to get through this COVID thing? Like, any advice from a now PGA Tour rookie, Mike Gligic, that you can pass on to give some young people some some incentive to keep going?
I mean, I've just been trying to stay active and mobile, doing a lot of stretching and working out, and I got a putting mat that I'm using all the time. I know like Peter, you were mentioning him earlier. I know he's got the net going in the backyard. I mean, if you're able to do something like that, or even just, a lot of guys are hanging, like sleeping bags and whatnot. It doesn't need to be pretty, but any opportunity you can to make some swings, or if you're allowed to go to the park and hit some chips or in the backyard. I think anything to just get out, be active, stay mobile, and make some swings, and you know, this will turn soon, and when it does, just have a positive attitude about it, and you know, just I think we'll get by this.
Well, you know what, Michael, you're so very humble, and yet you're so very your information is so very poignant, and it really just is a shape of who you are, dude. And it's been really cool listening to this story and this ride, and I'm so thankful that you were able to come on today and share your story, because I mean, like I said, your story is a little different than some of these other guys, and having not done the college route, and you know what, you are the epitome of what I say to my juniors, where it's your game, your way, right? And it's how you want to write your history and how you want your legacy to happen. And you know what, man, I can't commend you enough for sticking it out and staying true to your goals and your dreams and where you want to go. I know from all of us here in Canada, we only want to see you succeed. So when the PGA Tour comes back up, we all wish you the absolute very, very biggest best of luck, and we hope we see you in the winner's circle sometime this year.
I hope so too. Well, yeah, thank you. I appreciate it, and thanks for having me on. And yeah, good luck with everything with you, and hope to
Thanks.
see you soon.
Yeah, you all take care. All the best, and send me a text. Send me the link for your wife's website, and
I will for sure. I'll do it right now. Yeah.
all right. All the best, Mike. Thank you very
Okay.
much. Have a good night.
Yeah.
Stay
Thanks,
safe.
buddy. Good seeing you.
You too. All the best.